All right, back on the Young Turks. Now we're going to do our first ever tech/gaming segment. Okay, fun for everybody. We brought in Scott Lowe. He's an editor at IGN.com. Makes perfect sense to explain to us what happened at CES. Now you all know what's going on at CES. Okay, some of you don't. Neither did I. Scott, first, welcome. And second, what the hell's CES?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. But yeah, I get that question a lot. What does CES mean? What is it about? Well, basically, CES is Consumer Electronics Show, which is where all the big major manufacturers, Sony, Microsoft, LG, all of them, they come out and show their big products for the rest of the year. It's basically where they establish the roadmap for all of those personal electronics you love and use at the end of the year.
Okay, so do they bring out like specific games like World of Warcraft 17, or is it more general products?
This is more of a hardware show. The big gaming shows are like E3, which is held in Los Angeles in June or July of every year. CES is Vegas. Every year, it's only products that are tangible. It's electronics, purely.
Well,
electronics.
that's a weird place to have a convention, Vegas.
Well, it's huge. It's huge.
But the problem, though,
Yeah.
is if you have the convention in Vegas and you want to introduce these products, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So what can they do? They can't take the products out.
It's true. You have a lot of really drunk journalists rolling around.
Does anyone ever get laid at CES?
Well, if they play their cards right, they'll go to one of the AVN parties, which is also a convention that occurs, the Adult Video Network Awards, which occur at the same time as CES. It's a dangerous concoction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I say geeks? Is that?
It's kind of a derogatory term at this point.
Oh,
but,
it is.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
my
yeah.
bad. Okay, so then dorks and porn stars at the same time. Everybody's looking to have fun. That's an obvious combination. No, I'm kidding around. So what was introduced? What's the big trend out there?
The big trend this year was 3D TV in every way, like a 3D home entertainment more than anything else. But the forefront of that was 3D TV. So you had everybody from Sony to Samsung to LG, all of the major TV manufacturers pushing out these new 3D capable displays.
All right, I got to ask you a lot about that.
Yeah.
All right, number one, do I have to put on the goofy sunglasses inside my on my couch?
Yes, you do, and you have to pay an arm and a leg for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, but I never do. That's not how I work.
Yeah.
You don't know me.
You buy costs.
No,
you get a deal.
No, here's what happens. I let other people try it for the first 5 years, and then meanwhile, that price goes down, 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 and eventually I buy the thing for $200. Okay, does that sound like a rational plan?
Yeah, no, the early adoption rate is really kind of up to you. Like it's a lot, it's risky, but because you never know how the technology is going to work out. It could be abandoned for a better technology, in a few years.
Here's who's not taking that risk. Me.
Yeah.
Okay, but how much is it? Like if I want to get a 3D TV, first, can I just go and get a 3D TV right now?
No, see that's the thing about CES that is both kind of cool and annoying at the same time. They show off a bunch of stuff, and sometimes it'll come out 6 or 7 months later. Sometimes it won't come out until 2 or 3 years later. Like they're very vague unless they set a hard release date. We never know when specifically they'll actually.
So this is a bit schwang wang wang. So okay, 3D TV. We're not going to tell you when it's coming out.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
It seems like this year is like it's a safe bet that'll come to the stores eventually this year because everybody did it. Everybody said they're going to do it this year. They weren't saying, oh, well, we'll get to it eventually. They're saying it's happening this year and you're going to be able to buy it and put it in your house.
All right. Now, were there any games that are in 3D too?
Okay, so Sony, which is like, the mega corporation, they have, the music industry covered, they have their movie industry covered, they have gaming with the PlayStation 3, and they also make TVs. So they had like a multi-pronged attack this year. They showed off 3D TVs, 3D Blu-ray players. They talked about how they're going to start making 3D movies for Blu-ray and in-home entertainment. And then the other part of it is they were showing off stuff for the PlayStation 3, which will later this year get a 3D update, which means you can play any number of games in 3D if you have a 3D TV.
See, that's interesting because the TV I'm a little skeptical about. Like, yeah, 3D is all right, but wearing the glasses, I don't know. I'm just a little skeptical. But games in 3D, that sounds pretty badass.
Yeah. Well, we've seen it before. It's not, 3D gaming isn't new to, the industry. It's just sort of new to console gaming. So like PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, those are all like kind of fronts that haven't been touched with 3D before. We've seen it on like computer gaming.
Right.
There's been products called like the NVIDIA 3D Vision, which it basically allows you to play any game in 3D on your home computer. But that was limited exclusively to computers, and it was expensive. But now they're moving into the console territory.
So Scott, I mean, I'm imagining this thing that I don't know if it exists. Like, so would the game, and I know it's not right now, it's coming out.
Yeah.
Would the game be like, okay, instead of I'm fighting someone inside the screen, they're in my living room?
No, it's not quite like that.
Oh,
no,
swang, wang, wang again.
Yep.
Okay.
It's not exactly what you have in mind. And
so how would it work?
okay, so basically the effect you get that we saw on the floor, because they had these things working on the show floor, so we saw what they look like. It's not popping out at you. It's not one of those like kind of like the Terminator ride in Universal Orlando. It's like kind of like it's into the screen. It's a depth of field kind of thing. It's not reaching out at you.
No, I'm back to being out.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you, the minute those guys like show up inside my living room and I could like turn around and fire at them and stuff, then I'm going back into gaming.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
That's the light at the end of the tunnel. That's what.
So that's what everybody's going towards that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, it looks like an interesting thing. And one last thing on that. As you say, 3D. I think, man, either James Cameron pushed everyone into 3D and it's unbelievable, or man, did he get the timing right? Do you know which one do you think it is, Scott?
I think it was kind of like an industry shift. I think, honestly, they all sort of came together and said, 3D is the next generation. And honestly, when people talk to me about it, like, one of the things I always say is that you may not like 3D, but they're going to make you like it. Because it's such a industry-wide approach. Everybody's coming at it from all angles. They're saying 3D is where it's going to be. And every person I talk to is like, I don't really want to wear those ridiculous glasses. And that seems to be unanimous with pretty much everybody I talk to. Even like the biggest geeks I know, they're always like, I'm not sure if I want to wear the glasses while I sit in my house. So I think it's really just a matter of they're going to keep trying until everybody likes it.
And you know what they should do? Final note on this is make them more comfortable. Like they pinch everybody's heads, especially me. I got a huge head. I got a noggin, right? So it's pinching me. If they made the glasses more comfortable, people would be more into it.
I'm right there with you. I've got a huge head and glasses, which means I've got to wear them over my glasses on my huge head.
Think about it. We're trying to help a brother out.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. Scott Lowe is an editor at IGN.com. Thank you for coming in. That was great.
It was a pleasure.